Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into, well, a really pivotal conversation. It's all about where our financial future might be heading. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path, it seems, could lead towards more control, maybe even surveillance. The other, though, promises something different. More freedom, more empowerment. And that's pretty much exactly where the world of finance seems to be right now, a dramatic choice. Our guide for this is a really fascinating article, just published actually. It's called The Future of Finance Belongs to Metal Blockchain. Bruce Stewart wrote it, came out July 18th, 2025. And it paints this vivid picture, a financial world that's being dramatically reshaped by a pretty significant legislative event.
Yeah, what's striking right off the bat is how the whole thing is framed. It revolves around the passage of this act they call the Genius Act. It's presented as like the catalyst, the thing that really pushed the whole blockchain space to this critical point, forcing this choice between two very, very different futures for finance tech.
Okay, so our mission here for you, listening, is to help navigate this crossroads. We want to understand the forces at play and then really explore the specific vision that the article lays out, a vision for how we might, actually get to that future of financial freedom, real ownership, and privacy. So what could all these big shifts mean for you, for the money you use every day? Let's unpack it. So the article, it doesn't really waste any time setting up this big choice, does it?
No, not at all.
It asks this fundamental question right away. Is blockchain going to end up being a tool for, surveillance and censorship? Or is it going to be about empowerment, privacy, financial freedom? And it connects this tension directly to CBDCs, central bank digital currencies.
Right, and that's key. The article really digs into why CBDCs are framed this way, why they're sort of the control side of the crossroads in this narrative. According to Stewart, the U.S. House has been very clear. They've apparently stated that CBDCs have no place in a free society. Now, that's presented as a really strong rejection, a thumbs down to government-issued digital money, pushing instead towards other ways of doing things. More private sector, maybe?
That is a strong stance. So, okay, if it's not CBDCs, if the central authorities aren't issuing the digital currency, then who? Who picks up the ball?
Exactly.
The article says the responsibility, it just shifts. It lands squarely on banks, credit unions, other financial institutions, basically. Mm-hmm. They've now got this clear directive, according to the source, either start issuing your own stablecoins or you need to partner up with platforms that are already built for this new world.
And that's the cue for Metal Blockchain, right?
Precisely. This is where the article brings in Metal Blockchain. And it's presented as, well, almost like it saw this coming, designed years ahead, specifically for this kind of moment. It claims they anticipated this whole shift away from CBDCs towards stablecoins issued by institutions.
Mm-hmm. And if you connect the dots, from the article's viewpoint, Metal Blockchain is positioning itself as the solution, the answer to the problems and the opportunities created by this Genius Act and the whole CBDC rejection. It's basically saying, look, we've got the tools, the vision, and crucially, the compliance framework that these banks and institutions suddenly need right now.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics then. What capabilities does the article say Metal Blockchain actually offers? Because it's more than just an idea, right? It outlines actual features. This is where it gets really interesting.
Absolutely. The absolute core, and this is a huge deal for regulated institutions, is what the article terms its compliance-first architecture. Think about it. Banks, credit unions, they operate under incredibly strict rules. So building the platform from the ground up with those regulations in mind, well, that's a major selling point. It tackles a huge barrier.
Compliance first. Got it. What else? The article talks about seamless issuance of stablecoins into interoperable baskets. What does that actually mean for, someone using this system?
Right. So interoperable baskets, think of it like this. Different stablecoins, maybe one from your bank, another from a different institution, they could actually work together smoothly. They wouldn't be stuck in separate silos. You could potentially exchange them easily, bundle them. It suggests a more fluid, connected digital money ecosystem,
Okay, so more flexible, less walled off. That makes sense.
And that connects to another feature they highlight. Custom private and public chains launched via metal subnets.
Subnets, okay, break that down a bit.
So imagine Metal Blockchain is like the main highway. Subnets are like, well, they're like dedicated lanes or even private roads branching off. Institutions can use these to create their own tailored blockchain environments. Maybe they need a public-facing one for certain things or a totally private, controlled one for sensitive operations.
Ah, okay. So flexibility again. Different chains for different needs, but still connected to the main platform.
Exactly. That kind of customization is vital for the diverse things financial institutions actually do.
And then there's the privacy angle, which seems pretty central to this whole freedom side of the argument. It mentions privacy-preserving digital identity infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. This speaks directly to that core tension. How do you prove who you are online, digitally, without giving away all your information? This feature suggests a system for managing digital ID securely, preserving privacy. You prove what's necessary, but not more. That's the idea, anyway.
That's a big one. And finally, performance. Always a question with blockchain, right? Can it handle the real world?
Yep, the article makes sure to address that. It emphasizes Metal's commitment to scalability and performance for real-world financial operations. It's basically asserting that, yes, it was designed to handle the massive volume and the speed that global finance actually demands, which is, a critical claim if you want banks to actually use it.
Okay, so beyond the tech features, the article then sort of zooms out, right? It says Metal is more than a blockchain, it's a vision.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes this really bold comparison, suggesting it's a continuation of what Bitcoin started in 2009.
It does, and it draws this really interesting distinction. The argument presented is, while Bitcoin broke the system, Metal builds the bridge to a new financial era. So the idea is Bitcoin was the disruptor, the revolutionary spark that showed decentralization was possible. But Metal, according to this vision, is about building the actual infrastructure for what comes next. Taking those revolutionary ideas and making them practical, compliant, integrated into the existing financial world. Building bridges, not just breaking things.
A bridge to a new era. And what does that era look like, according to the article? What's the ultimate goal here?
Well, it's stated pretty clearly, an era where ownership, identity, and value are restored to the people. That's presented as the core principle, the new standard that Metal Blockchain is supposedly aiming for in this financial system it envisions, restoring power to the individual.
Okay, so we've just walked through a pretty detailed look at one specific perspective on where finance might be headed, all seen through the lens of Metal Blockchain and this Genius Act. We've seen how the article presents the rejection of CBDCs by the U.S. House as this major catalyst, pushing banks and others towards alternatives like institution-issued stablecoins.
Right. And that central tension remains the key takeaway from the source material. Is digital finance going towards more control or towards more individual freedom and privacy? Metal Blockchain, as presented by Stewart, plants its flag firmly on the freedom side, offering this compliance-first approach tailored for the institutions now apparently needing to issue these stablecoins. It's framed as a vision for a new standard, where ownership and identity are, theoretically, handed back to individuals.
So let's bring it back to you, the listener. What does this all potentially mean? If this vision plays out, if banks do start widely adopting platforms like Metal Blockchain, how could your actual relationship with your money change, your digital identity, your sense of privacy in this evolving financial world? It's quite a fundamental shift being proposed.
Yeah, and it leaves us with a pretty significant question to think about, doesn't it? If the future really does lean this way towards privately issued compliant stablecoins, towards privacy-focused ID systems, what new responsibilities does that place on us as individuals? And what new opportunities might arise for managing our own financial freedom, our own digital lives more actively? Definitely something to keep mulling over as things develop.